Yo, what up, all you badasses out there? Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to go over my top 5 favorite films from 2024. I thought it was a pretty banger year overall, way better than that dog shit year 2023. Get out of here. So yeah, I think there were some films that will stand the test of time that came out in 2024. I'm so glad that I got to see most of these in the theater too. And I'm really excited to share my top 5 with you guys. So let's get into it. At number 5, we've got Immaculates. Oh, yeah. Now, this is pretty much the retelling of a classic horror film that I won't name because then it kind of gives away the ending and all that stuff. But I'm glad that they redo that same kind of storyline for more modern audiences, so people that aren't aware of it can go and watch this and be like, oh, that was so cool. I love that. And it's not like this film, it doesn't have any like modern technology or any of that kind of stuff in it, really. It feels way more like a classic film. It's kind of stripped of all like modern conveniences and everything, and I just love like the filming locations for this movie and just the overall cinematography, the lighting, everything just looks so good. Sydney Sweeney delivers an absolute killer performance in this. And now, this movie did come out around the same time as The First Omen. I think this is way better because this one for me has the more disturbing, fucked up ending that I like in a movie. I don't usually like happy endings in my horror films. I like it when a film has the balls to push the limits and be like, no, we're gonna give you like a more of a heartbreaking ending, and you guys are gonna like it. So I'm glad that this movie had the balls to do that. Yeah, like especially as you can see right back there, and The First Omen to me just didn't do that. The First Omen kind of had it ties into the original Omen. I like how they did that, but minor spoilers for The First Omen. There's a character that survives, and I don't understand why they really needed to. They could have just easily killed them off. It would have been a darker ending, and I think it would have resonated more for horror fans. But the way they ended it, like I'm talking about the very, very ending, it kind of felt like they were leaving room for a sequel to the prequel, which is just so stupid. I mean, come on. And it honestly felt like a very studio tacked on ending. It didn't even seem like what the writers or the writer wanted, But yeah, Immaculate, definitely check this out. It's fantastic. And I think it's better than The First Omen too, by a pretty wide margin. Next up, we've got Strange Darling in 4th place. Man, this movie was killer. There we go. I don't own the Blu-ray of this yet because I'm waiting for it to get like a second sight release or some things. I know it will eventually. My girlfriend owns the Blu-ray, so we're covered there. But yeah, this movie, directed by J.T. Molnar, man, he just absolutely killed it. But really, the real star, honestly, is Giovanni Ribisi doing all the cinematography, because the way this film looks, the way it's lit, and just all these different little just the way, like I said, how he plays with the lighting in these scenes, especially like at the motel, and even just like the sequences like when they're running through the woods and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it just looks like $1 million. It really does. And I believe that was his first time as a cinematographer, so that's pretty impressive. Good for him. Coming a long way from being Phoebe's brother in Friends, But yeah, Willa Fitzgerald, she absolutely kills this performance. Loved her in it. Kyle Gallner, always happy to see Kyle Gallner in another horror movie. I love him in these roles, especially when he does horror, which seems to be his main genre. He always brings like 100% to everything. So But yeah, overall, I mean, I really don't have any complaints about this movie. I loved how they, how it's 6 chapters and they tell them out of sequence, which is really cool. I did kind of see where the ending was going, because I've seen a million movies, so I kind of had an idea when they were telling the chapters out of order and everything. I'm like, oh, okay, I think I have an idea where this is going. But it doesn't like hinder my enjoyment of it. I mean, it was still great. So, I would still highly recommend checking out Strange Darling, because it's just, like I said, I think it's one of those movies that you can rewatch even after you know kind of the twists and turns, and you'll still love it, you know. And oh man, that breakfast sequence in the movie too. Those people are making that big ass breakfast. That made my fat ass hungry. I was like, ooh, I'll take some of that. Oh man, that was like a heart attack breakfast right there. Holy shit. But yeah, such a great movie. Let's see. Next up, we have The Substance in third place. The Substance with Demi Moore. This movie's already been nominated for like 5 different Oscars. I hope she wins, or the director, or all of it. It'd be cool if they swept. Could you imagine that? But we got The Substance. Once again, I did not buy this release. My girlfriend owns it. And I'm also waiting for it to get like a second sight, because her other film, Revenge, got a second sight release. So I'm hoping The Substance will. So here's hoping. But yeah, The Substance, Jesus, this movie really blew me away. Especially seeing it on the big screen, because it's like a visual feast. It's just, there's so much going on, like just visually, that you're never bored by the film. The movie's like almost 2.5 hours, but I'm telling you, you don't even feel it, because it's always like inundating you with these cool visuals just going into your ocular stems over and over. And I'm like, whoa, like, God, Dennis Quaid's so fucking funny in this movie, and of course his name's Harvey, and he plays like a really shithead, like studio executive guy. And I just thought that was great when he's eating that shrimp and all that stuff. It's just disgusting. And she seems to have a thing for that Coralie Fargit, or Fargette, however you say her name. She has a thing for like close-ups of people eating, because she did that in Revenge as well, which my girlfriend pointed out to me. I was like, oh yeah, there are some like little Easter eggs tied in there. And my girlfriend Allie also pointed out that, I guess, in Revenge she's got those star earrings, and then in The Substance, the girl that comes out of Demi Moore, she has, I guess, some little star earrings too. So there are some cute little Easter eggs tied in there if you're paying attention. But yeah, Demi Moore, Margaret Qualley, Dennis Quaid, I mean, these guys are all just chewing up the scenery. It's so good. And once again, shout out to the cinematographer. I mean, good lord, the film looks so good. And it does look very, crisp. And I know some people, I usually don't like that. I usually like a movie to kind of look older with some grain and stuff like that, like from the 70s or 80s. But in this case, I think the movie's supposed to look very clean and kind of digital, and just very like as crisp as it can look, honestly, and I think it works for this movie. I think it makes sense, especially because they're constantly shooting videos of like the workout videos and all that kind of sense. So it makes sense that they want it to look as good as possible, especially when they got all those asses popping in your face left and right, So yeah, great score. Love the score in The Substance. All the practical effects and everything that they used. Oh my God. This movie's getting compared to Cronenberg a lot. I keep hearing that because of the body horror element. It's like, guys, we don't have to constantly compare every movie to every other. I mean, I get it, right? There's body horror, but it's like it doesn't make it a Cronenberg film just because there's body horror. There have been body horror movies all over the place. I kind of want to let's just let her kind of stand on her own 2 feet. And she made a badass movie. Yes, it has some body horror, but like everything else is pretty unique to the film. And I think the movie actually has something to say, like a good message tied in there. But the thing I love about Coralie is that she's not afraid to kind of go for it in terms of like she'll show you nudity and these things that are kind of considered taboo now in movies. They don't want to show that kind of stuff. But she's a French director, so she's just like, no, we go for it. The French are extreme. They go for it. They're like, we don't give a shit, we're going to show you everything. But there's, like I said, there's good messaging behind it about just accepting your body for what it is. I mean, just try to age gracefully. I mean, you don't have to worry about constantly needing to be a young, beautiful, person. You're beautiful as you are. And I know Demi Moore suffered a lot from that in her lifetime where, she's had some work done and all that. So this was kind of a passion project for her. It was very personal for her. So I dig that because I think that once again, it adds to the performance. And I really hope she wins the Oscar. I hope, all 5 categories, The Substance wins it. I really do. But yeah, that's my third place. Coming in at number 2, we have Heretic. Man, Heretic, I just got this in the mail actually from A24. This is a 4K release. This movie just, man, I've watched it twice now. Because the first time I saw it, I was like, I'm not sure how I feel about the ending. The second time, I felt way better about the ending. I really did. Because it kind of feels a little bit rushed at the end, but I'm telling you, rewatch it, and you'll feel a lot better about it. Because I know other people said the same thing, where the third act kind of, they weren't sure if it landed, but for me, it landed even better the second time around. And God, you talk about great performances. First of all 3 of these people did a phenomenal job. They really did. Let me look up these ladies really quick. But Hugh Grant, obviously, is the standout. He's just so menacing in this, but he's also charming at the same time. So you're like, you like him because he's kind of playful and silly, but then also extremely knowledgeable. And this movie just picks apart all of these different religions, but it does it in a good way because it picks apart the religions. But then you have these other 2 ladies that are Mormons, and they're telling you like, no, we stand by what we believe and everything, even when Hugh Grant's kind of pressing them and showing them why most religions are like bullshit in his opinion. But they stand strong on their beliefs, and I like that. It's really cool. Because I believe what I heard is that the director, or somebody as the director, or maybe one of the writers, or somebody that married into, he married a Mormon lady, he married into her, religion, all that stuff. So it was kind of like his views mixed with like her views, and I think that's kind of what helped inspire this film. So I thought that was cool. But yeah, the other 2 ladies are Sophie Thatcher and Chloe East. You also have Topher Grace here in a very small role, but he is in there. But yeah, both those ladies killed it, especially that Chloe East. I think I appreciated her performance even more the second time around. I really did. So yeah, this is one you really want to go into. And it's one of those films that's very dialogue driven, and I love that about it, because nowadays you just it's a lot about like the jump scares, or like people getting killed off or whatever. But this film really takes its time to deliver on just like great dialogue. And it's just shot beautifully once again. Love the lighting, especially like at the beginning when the lights go out and you just have the candlelight illuminating everybody. And it's just so well done. But yeah, I highly recommend checking out Heretic. It's really great. It blew me away because I wasn't really sure what to expect from this film, honestly. But I absolutely loved what I got. So yeah, check this one out for sure. And and just so you know, it was okay. I thought so. It was directed by Scott Beck and Brian Woods. It was directed by two guys, and I believe one of them married a Mormon lady, and then I think that's kind of what inspired this story, if I remember right. So, yeah, very cool. I can't wait to delve into the special features and everything on that one. All right. Next up, we are that's my number one. Here we go. Number one, Late Night with the Devil. Oh man, this was I believe it was the first film I saw. Yeah, I think it was the first horror film. I think it was the first film period that I saw of 2024. And I am aware that Strange Darling and Late Night with the Devil technically came out in 2023 at like a film festival, but I'm just counting it as 2024 because that's when I got to see them in the theater. So that's when they were released theatrically here in the States or whatever. So that's what I'm counting it as a 2024. But yeah, this movie I went to go see with my buddy Steve. By the time it was done, I was like, wow, I think we just watched what I would consider to be a modern classic film. That's how, because it just had that feel about it. I don't know. I loved everything that was going on in this movie. The way it was filmed, how it felt like how it was shot, kind of like like a shot on video type movie. Just it looks so good. I was just instantly drawn into it. The music, the late night talk show host vibe. David Dastmalchian just killing that performance. He's such a great actor, and I'm glad that he's finally able to have that leading man role, which I think is great. Because a lot of times he's kind of a bit player where he doesn't have a ton to do. So I'm so glad that he was able to have this leading man performance here. But the rest of the cast is great too. So this was directed by a couple brothers, which I think is cool. Cameron Cairns and Colin Cairns, or Carnes. And yeah, and then you have David Dastmalchian, Laura Gordon, Ian Bliss, Faisal Bazi, Ingrid Torelli. Yeah, I mean, just such a killer cast of people here. I mean, I loved everybody, especially his buddy that was kind of like his assistant on the talk show. I thought that guy he was cracking me up the entire time because he was just so scared of everything that was going on. Yeah, he played Gus McConnell in the movie. His name's Rice Autry or something like that. But yeah, he was great. Also Ian Bliss as Carmichael Haig. That guy just absolutely nailed that performance. Is kind of the guy that's like trying to kind of disprove everything that's happening before us, the audience and the talk show host and everything. He's like the guy that doesn't believe in supernatural stuff, so he's constantly trying to prove that, oh no, this is all a hoax and this is how you trick people and blah 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 blah. I loved his character. Then you had Faisal Bazi, Faisal Bazi as Christo. Oh man, that guy was good too. He was the one that could kind of he's like a medium, so he can kind of get inside people's heads and or he can basically feel other people's dead relatives or whatever if they're trying to communicate through him. And he was doing that with the audience, like, oh, I see that you knew somebody named Bill that passed away a year ago or something. All that stuff was great. Because it felt like something you would see back then, but I liked it when they amped up the serious level too. Because at first it kind of felt a little gimmicky, but then when it got serious, it was great. And then Laura Gordon, she was awesome. You know, Laura Gordon played June Ross Mitchell, and then she brought out Lily. And those two were great together. I loved it because she felt very like she had like a maternal instinct with Lily, like she wanted to protect her, but Lily just keeps coming off as like this super creepy kid, you know, that went through this crazy, like, you know, she used to live in like a compound with this cult and all this weird shit, and she was like the only survivor. So you know there's something going on there. There's something messed up. And when we get to minor spoilers, but you know, when we do get to the exorcism scene and everything, I just you know, I kept thinking of The Exorcist, of course, but I still thought what they did was amazing, you know, and they kind of had their own little take on it. And I don't know, I loved it. And it paid homage to the original Exorcist, which I think is cool too. But once again, you get some really cool practical effects in this movie. There is some like CGI type stuff that looks, you know, it doesn't, I don't know. I didn't mind most of it. There was one little bit that I thought looked kind of silly. Um, Minor spoilers, but there is a character who gets their neck broken, and I just thought that look, because they kind of walk around for a second before they fall over, and I thought that just looked silly. It just didn't look good. The other stuff, though, some of the more colorful CGI and whatever, I thought that actually did look good. It didn't bother me because for the most part they use you know, cool like practical effects and all that stuff, like when the one person like has the worms falling out of them and everything, that was all done practically, and I thought it looked great. But and I dug the ending. I know the other point of contention with this movie is the ending, and I thought the ending was great. I thought it suited the film, you know, brilliantly. So yeah, Late Night with the Devil, my favorite of the year. um and I think this and The Substance, and honestly, Heretic, if more people actually watch it, will all really stand the test of time as far as just being great films that really bring something different. And um, yeah, so that's why those are my favorites of the year of 2024. I just wanted to say really quick too, because I think I forgot. Immaculate was directed by Michael Mohan, um, or Michael Moen, yeah. But yeah, he directed the shit out of Immaculate, so phenomenal job. And yeah, that's about it, guys. Really, I mean, look at this imagery, just with look at this imagery with Immaculate there. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. Just like the wardrobes and the, you know, just everything. It looks so good. I mean, look at the paintings behind her and everything. Yeah, or like a mural or whatever it is behind her. I mean, that's what you're dealing with here. You know, that's why I mean it's got like that classic, you know, classy kind of look about it. Um yeah. Oh, and by the way, Immaculate's only 89 minutes. That was another thing I wanted to mention. So it goes by like that. You know, it's a really good runtime. You know, it doesn't overstay its welcome or anything. But yeah, that's about it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please let me know down in the comments below, what are your favorites of 2024? What are you looking forward to in 2025? I'd love to know. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.